Bye. Okay, so today Alex and I will be talking about easy ways to incorporate EatFresh.org in the mini course into your programs to extend and enhance your impact in a variety of settings. So today we will cover an overview of EatFresh.org in the mini course, highlighting useful features and applications for nutrition educators. We'll cover best practices and effective strategies for using these resources, examples of and tools for EatFresh.org and mini course integration in nutrition education, relevant print materials to support your programming, and finally, we're hoping to leave a little time for Q&A at the end. And this webinar is designed to be interactive. We'll have you answer questions and also type ideas or questions into the chat box. So please chime in. It's a lot more fun when you do. For those of you who are unfamiliar with everything we do at Leahs Pantry, I want to quickly provide some background on our organization. Leahs Pantry was founded in San Francisco in 2006, which means we just passed our 11th anniversary this fall. Our mission is to promote healthier lives among vulnerable populations through innovative, community-based nutrition and cooking programs. To put it simply, we believe that everyone deserves nourishing meals every day. We accomplish our mission through 3 strategies. First, we work directly with low-income individuals to support sustained, healthy behavior changes related to food choices, cooking, and shopping through programs that address client barriers. We primarily use Food Smart's curriculum, although we have a variety of other programs that meet the unique needs of our clients and partners, like trauma-informed nutrition education. Second, we work with organizations who serve low-income individuals to build their capacity to integrate effective nutrition support. This work includes staff trainings like our Food Smarts training program. We actually have one coming up on December 11th and 12th in San Francisco. And also today's webinar is another example of this type of work. Third, we ensure that the right tools exist to make these programs effective. We develop cutting-edge online nutrition education tools, community-driven recipes and cookbooks, and innovative curriculum to use both within our own programs and also to share with others. All of these tools incorporate the community's perspective. Our programs are based on stages of change. Many of you have probably heard of stages of change, but just as a reminder, the basic premise is that people need to be ready to receive information in order for it to be actionable and influence behavior. Our goal is to move people from not thinking about their diet to thinking about it and on to taking action. What we love about EatFresh.org is that it really does meet people where they are. Maybe one person is really excited about recipes, but they don't want to know nutrition basics. Another person may be eager to gain a lot of nutrition knowledge, so they're ready to take the mini course. Users guide their own experience with EatFresh.org, so these resources can be beneficial and relevant for people who are across the spectrum of changes, or a spectrum of stages of change. Now, Alex is going to give a quick overview of EatFresh.org and the mini course, but first we'd love to get a sense of your familiarity with both resources. So we're going to do a survey. So if you could, does everyone see the survey? Can someone type in the chat box to confirm? Oh, you're already voting. Perfect. We'll wait a little longer for a few more people to respond. Okay, we will end voting now. Thank you so much for sharing, and let's share those results.
So from our poll, it looks like many of you are familiar with the website and a few of you have never heard of it, which is actually really fantastic for a webinar like this where there's a lot to learn and a lot to share with your peers. And as far as the mini course, it looks like it's also new to many of you, but a small percentage of you have created an account and have seen a topic or two. So again, that's fantastic because we're going to be covering a lot of that information today. Wonderful, we're in a great place. So for those of you who have not used the resources before, this is going to be a great overview of how you can interact with the site for your organization and for your clients. If you're an active user like a few of you are, thank you, and we hope to highlight new ways for you to interact with the website. Since 2013, EatFresh.org has been serving the California SNAP-Ed community. The site was created specifically for a low-income California audience. Over the past 4 years, the project has grown thanks to the participation of 300 plus partners just like you. In addition to partner referrals, we also have a grant to advertise using Google AdWords. As of last month, we're reaching nearly 15,000 non-bounce users per month. As a side note, non-bounce means that there are only users who visit at least 2 pages on the website, rather than getting to the site and after the homepage load, leaving. So the non-bounce are our engaged users. EatFresh.org has evolved over the past 4 years through ongoing user testing at CalFresh offices, libraries, community centers, and through partner and stakeholder feedback. We know that many of our users are still learning how to use the internet, and we do our best to make all of our online tools approachable, specifically for those with beginner computer skills and low digital literacy. All right, so give us 1 second. We're going to switch over to the website, and these transitions can take a moment or two, so we really appreciate your patience as we load the website. Wonderful. So hopefully all of you can see the website. It's going to be a little bit smaller than if you're looking at a browser on your computer along with us, but bear with us. This is going to give you a good overview of the space and the layout. So EatFresh.org is a multilingual, mobile-friendly recipe and chronic disease prevention website. The site is available in English, Spanish, and Chinese. The language switcher on the desktop is in the upper right-hand corner. This feature comes in handy when you're presenting or working with clients that speak multiple languages, since the majority of the website is translated into all 3 languages, and you can provide handouts in all the appropriate languages. The 6 main sections of the site are recipes, meal plans, discover foods, ask a dietitian, lifestyle, and my local resources. On our homepage, users can click on the CalFresh button to be directed to the appropriate application portal, find their local WIC office, find out information about school lunches, and watch videos about the site. You can also sign up for our weekly email healthy tips on the homepage. These tips are a great reminder to make healthy choices throughout the week, and they encourage individuals to return to EatFresh.org. We're going to switch over to our email so we can show you what a health tip looks like. What we do is we pull content from our lifestyle pages and feature a recipe with it. These email tips are available in English and are coming soon in Spanish. This is a great helper in your workplace if you'd like to share with your coworkers or use it as an inspiration during a workshop. Let the weekly tip be your guide for healthy tips or conversation starters in your classes. Okay, we're going to switch back to the website. Recipes are by far the most popular feature on EatFresh.org, accounting for nearly 70% of total traffic. There are over 400 recipes on the website that are easy to make, tasty, healthy, and affordable on a CalFresh budget. We have curated recipes from Cooking Matters, UC CalFresh, the California Department of Public Health, and other partners. Use the filters on the left to narrow down your search results, or type an ingredient into the search bar to find recipes that use a specific food. Point out these features to your participants to demonstrate different ways to access recipes. All recipe ingredients feature hover tooltips to suggest substitutions. This teaches that skill that cooking can be flexible and you can use what you have on hand rather than running to the store for a couple of ingredients. It also helps those who may be unfamiliar with a particular ingredient. All recipe ingredients are linked to Discover Food pages through hover tooltips. If you click on the Read More About, just like Danielle did, you'll be linked to the relevant page. These pages give an overview of the food or food group. You'll find photos, a basic description, buying tips, storage tips to make the food last longer, basic preparation without a recipe, and the health benefits of the food. These pages are great to reference in a class to highlight a particular ingredient or to talk about seasonal produce. You can use the toolbar on the top right to print these pages and use them as handouts, or you can share them via email or social media. This page is particularly helpful in a workshop setting when there is a food or taste test item that is unfamiliar to people. Our partners at food pantries select a fruit or vegetable that is quote unquote unpopular at the pantry and print out the Discover Food page to highlight all the ways you can interact with the item. On each Discover Foods page, we try and link to a relevant recipe which can also tie back into your workshop. Each recipe page also has a sharing toolbar at the top. You can email recipes to yourself or coworkers, post them on your organization's social media, or print them for a cooking activity. In a class setting, you can ask everyone to search for a recipe that looks good to them. Have them email it to themselves or text the recipe or ingredient list to their phone so they have it saved for later. You can adjust the yield of recipes to make enough for your group for a recipe demo. This is a great feature for individuals or seniors who don't want to cook a lot of food at once, or with people who live in single-room occupancy hotels who don't have a lot of storage or cooking space. You can scale down recipes by using the half button or the minus button to be more precise. Similarly, if you're cooking a large workshop, if you have a large workshop or a cooking event with families or kids, you can use the double feature and the plus button as many times as you need to fit the number of people in the room. Right, so we have a quick poll about the recipe section. Take a moment to tell us what you think. We're going to switch back to the, we're going to stop screen sharing for a moment and we're going to pull up a survey. So just like you did with the first one, there's going to be a poll that pops up and the survey is going to come down and allows you to tell us what you think and how likely you are to make a recipe from EatFresh.org this week. Great. We're going to give everybody a moment or two to continue voting. Great. So congratulations to the ones that are running to your kitchen right now. That's awesome. Really excited to hear about what you decide to try from EatFresh.org this week. For those of you who are thinking about it or not likely to try a recipe, I encourage you, of course, to try a recipe, but also to check out the very quick section in our recipe selection if you're short on time or need some inspiration for things that you can make quickly. And I'm sharing the results with you now so you can see the breakdown of your peers. Great. We are switching back to the website to continue on the main sections right now. So again, thanks for your patience as we switch over to share our screen. Wonderful. Ask a Dietitian is a feature that allows our users to ask nutrition-related questions that a SNAP-Ed trained RD will answer. If you get a question in class that you aren't sure how to answer, submit it to our RD. Our staff RDs cannot answer questions about specific health conditions. We are able to receive and respond to questions in English and Spanish. However, we don't have the resources to translate all of the questions and answers into Spanish and Chinese. Try writing to the RD with the client and check back in with them once the response comes through to your email. If you indicate that you want the answer to be published on the page, then you will also see the question and answer here. We've been answering and publishing questions on the website for 4 years. We've been able to categorize commonly asked questions by topic, such as cooking, diabetes prevention, general nutrition, and so on. This is a great resource for questions that come up in your workshop that you might not know the answer to. Or if you're receiving many questions that fit into a specific category, it might be useful to spend a few minutes looking through previously asked questions with your participants. Great. Next is our lifestyle pages. Lifestyle pages provide actionable ideas on how to overcome common barriers to health. The format of these pages was built specifically with stages of change in mind. If you remember back to the beginning when Danielle had the stages of change slide. The page begins with a barrier statement, offers simple suggestions for moving through that barrier, and ends with a call to action that can be done within 48 hours. These pages can also be easily printed and shared using the toolbar at the top. Use the filters on the right-hand side to find tips relevant to populations that you work with. Similarly to how I utilize the Ask a Dietitian feature, you are able to look through lifestyle pages by tip topics. This can be helpful if you are working with a particular group that might have specific barriers. If you're working with new moms, perhaps the section to check out before class or with your clients might be the breastfeeding section or the feeding children tips. If your participants have specific questions or barriers that they bring up in class, use their questions as a learning experience for everyone to check out the tips that might be helpful to them or their families. All right, we're gonna ask a quick question for you guys that you're just gonna type into the chat box. So we are wondering which category on the right that Danielle has highlighted do you think is most relevant for your clients? So go ahead and type that in now, and we'll see which the most popular is, and we can check out those responses.
So again, it's the categories under Explore Other Healthy Tips on the right. Chronic disease prevention. Thanks, Giovanna, for sharing. There's a few other people typing.
Cooking, beverages. Feeding children, shopping and budgeting, all great ones. Great, chronic disease prevention. Okay, so we are gonna check out cooking, since a few of you have said that. So let's check out the cooking tips. At the top, you can see a barrier statement. I don't have time to make dinner from scratch. That is a common barrier that we hear, that I experience in my life, and I know that many of our peers do as well. So I don't have time to make dinner from scratch is the barrier, and we have the bullet points below that are helpful to overcome that barrier and some suggestions of what you can do. Cook and freeze grains like rice and quinoa, fill a tortilla pita with sauteed ingredients for a warm sandwich. So we always trying to include as many possibilities and many bullet points as possible to really try and fit as many people's needs as possible. Great, thank you guys for sharing that. Clicking on My Local Resources will take you to a page of resources in your county. If your computer or smartphone is unable to detect your location, you'll see a list of counties where you can select the county you'd like to view. These pages list farmers markets that accept EBT, WIC, and those that participate in Market Match. For those unfamiliar with Market Match, it is an incentive program at certain farmers markets that allows someone using their EBT card to double their dollars up to a certain amount. We also list county offices and local food bank information. Please let us know if you have updates or things you'd like to add to your county page. Our partners at CalFresh offices and food banks utilize this page to point clients in the direction of farmers markets that accept their benefits. I use this section when talking about seasonal produce and encourage people to check out their local farmers market to see firsthand the variety of produce that is available each season. Many of your participants might already be checking out their neighborhood farmers market. Point out markets in different areas and give people the opportunity to talk about the markets they are already visiting, to talk about highlights and to share with other people what they do when they shop at a farmer's market, when the best time to go is, and when the market might feature deals, such as many farmers markets lower their prices during the last 15 to 20 minutes of a market or feature dollar bags during the end of a season. This is an opportunity to highlight bright spots shared by participants. Great, so now let's check out the EatFresh.org mini course. You can access it by clicking on the button on the homepage or by clicking the link at the top banner from any page on the website. You can also get there directly by going to eatfresh.org/mini-course. We hope that many of you have already created a mini course account and explored some of the 15 topics, and we went over that in the first poll that we asked, and it looked like some of you had indeed started a mini course account, which is fantastic. So I'm going to go in a little bit more about the mini course. I'm going to walk you through how you can sign up, what it will look like for you and your participants once you get started. So the EatFresh.org mini course was inspired by feedback from our low-income audience and staff of partner organizations in a 2014 evaluation. We found that 71% of SNAP-eligible EatFresh.org users had never attended an in-person nutrition workshop. This indicated an unmet need in the California SNAP Ed program. So we built and launched the mini course in 2016. The mini course leverages the SNAP Ed content of EatFresh.org by covering a wide variety of nutrition and food resource management topics. It takes advantage of best practices in e-learning to deliver fun and engaging nutrition lessons. Our goal is for the mini course to be a tool for all types of individuals and organizations looking to both support their clients' health and their digital health literacy. Let's go to the actual mini course now. So we're going to share our screen one more time. We're going to open up the website. Danielle obviously already has an account being a Leahs Pantry staff person, but she's going to show you what it looks like for your participants. And then we're going to log into our account so you can see exactly what you are going to be seeing when you're signing up some of your. Great. Once you arrive on the login screen, which Danielle is doing right now, you can change the language in the drop-down at the top right-hand side of the screen to English or Spanish. You can also change the language at any time while taking the course, which is a really great feature for bilingual individuals that might be more comfortable reading and writing in one language and speaking and hearing in another. To create an account, begin by clicking the orange button that reads Create a New Account. A user needs a username and a password, and then enter an email address, name, and location information. Next, you'll see a space for a referral code. This is important for tracking data for your cohort. We can assign a referral code to your organization and share data with you on a quarterly or annual basis, like the number of people who are using the course and how many certificates of completion they've earned. On an annual basis, we can also share pre- and post-test data on confidence and intent to change. These questions align with the most recent USDA evaluation framework. The rest of the questions in the account creation page collect demographic information from the SNAP Ed data card, which I'm sure this is familiar to many of you. Once all of the questions have been answered, click Create New Account and the dashboard will load on your screen.
Have to log in again, it kicked me out.
Which is good for safety concerns.
Right. Okay.
Great. Once the dashboard loads on your screen, you'll arrive at the course dashboard and see all 15 topics of the mini course, which are divided into 3 subject areas: nutrition basics, creating wholesome meals, and planning and shopping. Before beginning the course, we ask participants to fill out a short pre-test questionnaire called the check-in questionnaire. Once the questionnaire is complete, the first 5 topics are unlocked. Users can then take them in any order and track their progress as they go. Topics, as you can see, the topics include finding low sodium foods using the nutrition label, how much sugar is in your favorite drink, do you eat the rainbow, can you identify these healthy whole grains, and easy meal makeovers. When the first 5 topics are complete, the post-test questionnaire, called Nutrition Basics Follow-Up, must be completed before unlocking the first certificate of completion and the remaining 10 topics. Users can earn up to 3 certificates of completion throughout the mini course. Within the last year, after developing the mini course resource for our clients, we've developed a resource specific for nutrition educators. This course, similar in style and layout to the mini course, was designed with educators in mind. The format is longer as each section is rich in details and information. Our mini course for educators covers 5 main topics to leading a great nutrition class. The topics include focus on fruits and vegetables, choosing whole grains, great classes for all ages, emphasizing balance and variety, and skills for the smart consumer. Each section gives examples on how you can successfully lead and execute various nutrition activities. We also have links to download Leah's Pantry Food Smarts curriculum handouts, along with helpful videos that you can utilize in a workshop setting. To access all of these resources, sign yourself up for an account. Following the same steps for the mini course, use the referral code TEACH to access the mini course for educators. Using this referral code also gives you access to the mini course so you can get a sense of what your clients will be seeing. If you've already enrolled and didn't use the referral code TEACH, email Danielle and she can enroll you. We really appreciate feedback, so once you take the mini course, leave us some feedback in the feedback survey linked below. We're going to switch back. We're going to end our screen sharing, and we are going to ask a quick poll, which is going to pop up momentarily. Which topic from the mini course for educators looks most interesting to you? So when you're thinking about your work with your clients, what do you think will be most helpful for the work that you do on a weekly basis?
Give a moment for anyone else who wants to answer who hasn't already.
Great. It's wonderful to see that so many of the topics would be helpful to your work. As you can see, it kind of looks like a mostly even spread across all 5 topics, which is great. Something I want to share about the Leah's Pantry staff, even though we have a combined 15 years of experience teaching nutrition education, our staff all learned something new the first time we took the course. So if you've been teaching just for a year or 10 to 15 years, I really encourage you to take the time to check out the course because there's a lot of valuable information that you can share with your coworkers and with your clients. Great, so now that I've covered the basics about EatFresh.org and the EatFresh.org mini course, Danielle is going to share some specific examples of how you can integrate these resources into your programming.
Thank you, Alex. So I want to start with some broad best practices. So the first thing is know the resources. So we have found that EatFresh.org integration is strongest when agency staff understand the site and use it frequently within their nutrition education or other food-related programming. It's the same case with the mini course. When we know a resource, it's far easier to share it with others. The second thing is to think through integration and do so often. So as you are lesson planning, scheduling workshops or food demos, think about how you can integrate these resources into your work. How can they extend your reach as an educator? How can they match the needs of your participants? And finally, use resource supports that Leahs Pantry has created. So whether it's recipe cards, posters, or scripts, be sure to leverage the tools that we've already created to help you integrate EatFresh.org and the mini course into your work. If we don't have certain resources that you think would help you use EatFresh.org and the mini course, please let us know, and we will cover a lot of the resources that we've already created later. Building upon the examples already shared, here are some best practices around how to integrate EatFresh.org into your nutrition programming. So the first thing is to use EatFresh.org recipes for food prepared in classes or demonstrations. This is a great example of practicing what you preach. Spend some time using the different recipe filters and the search function to find a recipe that fits the needs of your clients and the space you'll have to prepare the food. If you're working in a space without a full kitchen, be sure to use the limited kitchen filter to find recipes that utilize a microwave, rice cooker, crock pot, blender, or that require no cooking at all. Remember to use the recipe yield to make the appropriate amount of food as well. Next, provide recipe cards or printouts to participants. These could be used in a nutrition class, food demo, food distribution site like a Pantry, health fair, or the cards could even be available if you have a waiting room. I will talk about how to order print materials in a few minutes. Also, it's great if you can use the Discover Foods page to share information. For example, if you're going to prepare something with pears for a food demo, you can highlight how to store them, what the nutritional benefits are, and so on. You can also print out the entire Discover Foods page and provide that to participants. As Alex mentioned, this is especially helpful for produce that might be less common, less liked, or less utilized. At the beginning of every workshop series, I ask the group, what vegetables would you like more about? And then I use their responses as a starting point for recipe selection. The next thing is to have clients use EatFreshorg during workshops. We acknowledge that this isn't always possible, but even if half your participants have smartphones and/or if you have access to tablets or computers, it can be done. We've had participants share devices before. Have people actually get on the phones and explore the site. We'll share a scavenger hunt guide that you can use to help facilitate this activity. We find that the more we can have clients use and familiarize themselves with the resource, the better. One quick story on this. So we shared EatFresh.org as a part of a training we facilitated for doctors, nurses, and health navigators in Contra Costa County. And as a result of that training and learning about EatFresh.org, one doctor now has patients play around with EatFresh.org during any downtime at the appointment, which I love. I think that's a fantastic idea. And then our last piece of advice is to submit an Ask a Dietitian question as a class. Alex mentioned this, but this can be a fun and unique way to engage participants with EatFresh.org. It's also helpful as a nutrition educator to look over previous entries to see what nutrition questions other EatFresh.org users have. So taking a look at the 5 ideas on this slide, which do you think will be most useful to you as a nutrition educator? Please type your response in the chat box now. And you might already be doing some of these things too. Recipe cards, great, yes, those are obviously a favorite. Oh, glad that you like them, Giovanna, thank you. Discover Food Page, great, that's great to hear, Lisa. Okay, so thank you for, Shelly, a few people are responding, we'll wait. Recipe cards. Wonderful. Show them how to access the mini course, and we'll talk about that a little more, Petra. That's great. Using the app, recipe cards, used in workshops. Yes, great. John, if you ever need help with like how that'll actually work or look like, please let us know if you have questions after we cover everything. Great. Thank you so much for your feedback. So here are a few additional integration ideas. The first thing is to prepare EatFresh.org dishes for staff functions. Our local county welfare department in San Francisco had a staff potluck, and they asked that all people prepare a dish from EatFresh.org. This is a fun way to use the site and try out the recipes. Not only are you becoming more familiar with the site, you're also becoming a dedicated user. Make EatFresh the homepage for any computers that clients can access. If you have a computer lab, open the browser, and instead of Google, Yahoo, or Bing coming up, put eatfresh.org as the landing homepage. The more people are exposed to the resource, the more likely they are to use it. You could also save eatfresh.org as a bookmark on your phone, in your client's phone, so it's easy to access. While eatfresh.org is not an app, it's designed to be mobile friendly. And we actually have a guide that walks you through how to save the site as a bookmark. And finally, share eatfresh.org via your agency's social media or any other client-facing channels. So the picture on the right is a post from the Food Bank of Contra Costa County in Solano, and they shared a video that we put up on eatfresh.org and also kind of linked to us in that post. Are there any ideas that I'm missing? Are there other ways that you've integrated eatfresh.org into your work? If you have any ideas, please type it in the chat box. But just in general, we're always interested in hearing the ways that you're using eatfresh.org, especially if they're new ideas to us. So always, please share. We definitely love feedback. Share with retail partners to share with customers. Pamela, yes, that is another great way to share eatfresh.org, and it can be like we've worked in corner stores and featured recipes that use a lot of ingredients that are common to corner stores, like canned beans, canned corn, things like that. That's a great idea. Thanks for sharing, Pamela. Okay, so now I want to move on to the mini course best practices. So the first one is have staff and volunteers complete the mini course and mini course for educators. We found that many partners promote the mini course with staff, especially those who do not have a background in nutrition. It provides a great overview of the simple nutrition messages that are appropriate to share with our target population. Also, it's great to pair the mini course lesson with a food component because people love food. So if you do an hour-and-a-half mini course class, try to add either a taste test or a demo at the end. Knowing that there's a food component at the end of the class tends to make recruitment easier. And since the mini course is completed individually, we like to include time for people to share their thoughts and bond with other participants. Also pair the mini course lesson with an existing group or campaign. So sometimes it can be hard to drum up participation for a completely separate event. So our partners have found success with pairing a mini course lesson with existing groups or campaigns. For example, within the picture at the right, the Women's Building in San Francisco has monthly computer classes. This month, they chose to use that class time to lead a group through the mini course and then do a demo for the delicious EatFresh.org persimmon salad. And also the Boys and Girls Club does a wellness event for staff every year. And this year, the mini course is an option as part of that wellness challenge. You can also bring up the mini course during staff meetings. So you could break up the courses and watch one topic a week during staff meetings. So, get creative in thinking about ways that you can integrate these resources in your day-to-day. So those are just a few best practices. We have more tips within the actual mini course lesson plan that I will explain next. So we've talked a lot about EatFresh.org in the mini course, ideas for integration, and best practices. Now we want to share resources that we've created to make that integration a little easier. So we are going to share our screen and pull up the Toolkit, which is where you will find all of these resources. Great, thank you, Alex. So all of these resources can be found on our toolkit available on Leahs Pantry's website here. A quick side note that all of these materials are housed within Leahs Pantry's website, not EatFresh.org, because EatFresh.org is our client-facing site. All partner-related information will always be on our organizational site. It's a bit confusing, so we always try to clarify that. Here are some of the resources we have available. I want to call out a few things under the EatFresh.org resources. The first few items are under the guides section. The EatFresh.org presentation script. This outlines how to introduce fellow staff or colleagues to EatFresh.org in 20 minutes. It provides a fairly thorough script on how to explain each section, how to lead discussions around EatFresh.org, and even how to lead an interactive scavenger hunt using the site with your coworkers. Let this outline be a guide, but also feel free to make it your own. You know your audience better than we do, so feel free to highlight various sections depending on who is in the room. So next is the EatFresh.org Scavenger Hunt Guide. This outlines how to introduce EatFresh.org to a client. Similar to the longer script, it helps you introduce EatFresh.org in both a one-on-one and group setting. So the second page is all about how to lead it in a group class. You will find other useful guides within this folder, including best practices for using EatFresh.org at food banks and pantries, a healthy gatherings toolkit, which helps you kind of determine ways to use EatFresh.org and its resources in meetings and gatherings you might do, at your office site. And there are also several how-to guides that walk users through specific features on EatFresh.org, like how to save EatFresh.org as a bookmark on a mobile device. So now that we've covered some basic resources associated with EatFresh.org, we'll move on to the mini course section, which is just below the EatFresh.org section. So the mini course Getting Started Guide. This outlines the basic steps you need to take in order to start promoting the mini course. So creating an account, it's great to designate one of your staff to manage and recruit promotion, and then obviously contact us if you want a custom referral code. So next is the promotional flyer. Let's go back. The promotional flyer. Okay, so let's click on the English one. These are great to hand out to potential participants and can be customized with your specific referral code or any other information that you'd like to include. And then finally, let's look at the mini course lesson plans. We have lesson plans for both 60 and 90-minute classes. These plans will walk you through everything you need to know about running a mini course lesson, ranging from the materials you should have to the language you can use to introduce EatFresh.org in the mini course. So before we talk about materials, I'd love to check in with you about the mini course. So we're really trying to boost enrollment with CalFresh eligible populations. So we'd love for you to answer this poll. I'm gonna make sure we have. So I'll just ask the question, and if you can type the answer into the chat box, that would be great. So how likely are you to promote the mini course with your client? And you can type into the chat box, not likely, somewhat likely, or very likely. And you can be honest, it's okay. So how likely are you to promote the mini course with your clients? Not likely, somewhat likely, very likely. Dorothy, that's a great thing to point out. So if you can incorporate into our work plan. So it helps to have that in place because that obviously, encourages us to make sure that we actually do that and implement those plans. Very likely, we have some not likely. Wait a second, somewhat likely, great. We'll take another minute for responses. Great, Petra, thanks for the feedback. Hopefully after looking over the mini course lesson plan, you'll have a better idea of how you introduce the mini course in a group setting. And Alex and I are always available to answer some of those questions. We have a few more somewhat likelies. Great, okay. Somewhat likely is not a bad thing at all. So for those of you who are not likely or somewhat likely, if there are any other resources that we can share with you to help you promote the mini course, please let us know. And finally, let's talk about print materials, which refers to recipe cards and posters. Distributing print materials is often a good starting point for promoting EatFresh.org. While the main goal is to have participants take advantage of the functionality and interact site, we know that always having an internet connection isn't realistic. So you can print recipe cards directly from the Toolkit, but you can also submit a request for recipe cards and posters online by clicking where Alex did, and you can just order them there. And we will ship them to you at no cost, so they are completely free. Our 4x6 recipe cards are perfect takeaways that will help remind clients to visit the website when they don't have access to the internet. These cards are available in English, Spanish, and Chinese. We don't have all 400 plus recipe cards, 400 of EatFresh recipes in the recipe card format. We have about 25 different recipes at a time. We are excited to share that we also now have a few recipes available in large print, which is especially helpful for those of you who work with older adults or individuals with impaired vision. Posters are great to hang in public spaces, such as waiting rooms, food distribution sites, CalFresh and WIC offices, and so on. Posters are also available in English, Spanish, and Chinese. Orders for print materials are placed only once a month, so please allow up to 6 weeks to receive your materials. And sorry, notice, we ran a little over, but we would like to allow time for Q&A if anyone has any questions.
Great. So the first question I see from Petra is, could you remind us where the toolkit is? Is it leahspantry.org? Yes, it is leahspantry.org. And I'm going to actually put that right in the chat box in a moment so that you have access to how to find that. Danielle mentioned this, but it is kind of tricky to remember. EatFresh.org is our client-facing site, so any print materials or orders or things like that are all going to be on the leahspantry.org. And we are copying and pasting the link right now, and we'll put it into the chat box. Erica, yes, the print materials are free for our partners working in California with low-income clients. Danielle just put the link in. Woohoo! Yeah, exactly. I like that type of enthusiasm, Erica. Petra, I think I saw a question from you in the chat box earlier about not being able to go back once you had started the mini course. That has not been my experience or experience with clients. And if you're seeing that, I'd love to see screenshots. That way we can send it to people who can deal with the very technical aspects of our work, and maybe there is a glitch or a bug on your account. And that goes the same for everybody. If you are not able to access something that seems like it should be working, we've said this several times, but we really do appreciate feedback. That's how we are able to create really interactive and responsive resources, is with your help.
And just to reiterate, screenshots are always helpful so we know exactly what's going on.
Exactly. Think of us as very low tech IT people, so the more information you give us, the better. And we'll leave this open for questions as they come up. We're also available after. I see a few people are asking or typing right now. Any senior focused tips and or ethnic focused tips now available working with Chinese seniors? That's really funny that you asked that, Pamela. Danielle just did a webinar about how to use EatFresh.org with seniors. So coming on our website in our toolkit, there's actually a webinar section that you can view all past webinars, as well as this one will be online within the next few days as well. We have a section that focuses on different ethnic foods on EatFresh.org. So if there's something there that looks interesting to you guys, that would be the place to go for ethnic types of foods on EatFresh.org.
And if you have any problems finding that, just let us know. See a question from John potentially.
We're really calling you out if you don't end up sending that question.
Wonderful.
Great. So it doesn't look like there's any more. Oh, maybe one more question. Awesome. So be sure to stay in touch. Email, call us, Instagram at us, Twitter at us, whatever you want to do, get in touch with us. Please let us know if you have any questions. We really are here as a resource for you all. We want to help you integrate EatFresh.org and the mini course into your work. We appreciate all of your time and your feedback and your participation. Thank you again for taking time and hanging out with us this morning and sharing with us.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.